Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good day. Where are our costumes? Hello, guys. Good day, everyone. Welcome.
Good morning.
Okay,
Nice
I
to see
didn't
you
have
here.
got the
Oh,
costume. I
I see some
apologize.
costumes already. John, Rodanis. Hello.
Hi, Camila. Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome. Fantastic. We're just at the meeting, everyone, to join us so that we can get started. Right. Okay, I think that everybody already joined us, right, Lisa? All set? Okay, cool. So welcome, everyone. We're excited to get you all aboard to this spooky masterclass. This is offered by our Premium Academy, and we are really happy to have you all here. So today we have our special guest, Gustavo Sparrow. He'll be helping you guys and guiding you with code challenges and helping you with all the tips you need to know to rock your next technical interview practice. So before we get started, I wanted Gustavo, can you please present yourself, and then I can share just a little bit about the Premium Academy before we go on. So welcome, Gustavo Sparrow.
Thank you, Camila. Hello, everyone. Welcome. And what I can say to you is that I'm also a VanHacker. I was here in the VanHack Premium Academy last year, and I'm now working for a Canadian company for almost a year. And it's amazing Canadian company, and I really love to be here, also helping you to achieve your dreams or your dream job. And yes, I have experience with more than 13 or 14 years as a software engineer. I used to work in a university as a professor also, so teaching for graduate and postgraduate courses related to software architecture and software design and everything. And now I'm here to help you also achieve this. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Fantastic, Gustavo. Fantastic. So before we get started with amazing content that Gustavo prepared for you all, I just wanted to share and welcome everyone again. So for those that don't know me yet, I'm Camila, today Camila Adams, but I'm the Premium Academy community manager. So I wanted to personally welcome you all. I know that we have some Premium Academy members here as well, so welcome you. And for those that are not members yet, I just wanted to share quickly what is the Premium Academy about. So this is our learning academy at VanHack. So at the Premium Academy, we offer a lot of resources to guide and help our members to get ready for international recruitment processes. So we offer weekly live interview practice classes. So we offer technical interview practice, behavior interview practice, and also English for work interview environment. Another feature that we offer for our members is fire review, in which we guide and help highlighting areas for improvement, how you can showcase experience to stand it out for recruiters and companies. So this feature is also really, really important because the profile is literally the first impression, the first place where companies and recruiters will get to know you, right? So we offer this review to guide you and highlight where you can improve to stand it out. We also have a lot of exclusive content about immigration, about recruitment processes, what companies are looking for in terms of technical skills and so on. And we have our exclusive Slack group where we network and get together, and where you can get in touch with your instructors as well after the classes if you need some help or something. We are always around to guide you and help preparing yourself for that recruitment processes that you are applying for, right? So just a quick overview about the Premium Academy. We are offering this masterclass today with our dear instructor, Gustavo. He is one of our instructors for the Premium Academy classes, and you have a little taste about what are the classes about and understand how we can help you all, okay? I'll be here with you until the end of this amazing session. And by the end, we'll have 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions about the Premium Academy, okay? You can also type in the chat or send me a message later on. So I'm also on VanHackathon Slack group. So you can find me over there, VanHack/Camila. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, practice, and get a lot of amazing content to guide you and help with your next technical interview, which is something that we all know that sometimes it's scary, and but you guys can see that, it's just a matter of practice, of getting comfortable with those situations, and you rock your next technical interview, okay? So Gustavo, I will stop sharing my screen here, and yeah, the stage is all yours. And guys, enjoy it, okay? Jump into conversations. Another thing that I wanted, because we have a lot of people today, if you have any questions, I've seen that someone has a raised hand, okay? So we can use this feature if you have questions during the class. Also, you can type in the chat. So you can use the chat to share your questions, and Gustavo and I will keep an eye on it to answer your questions during the class as well. So Gustavo, the stage is yours, and hope you guys all enjoy the session today. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you very much, Camila. So welcome everyone. Let me start sharing my screen. Oh, people. Oh, isn't Gustavo Miranda anymore? People are saying, yeah, I'm sorry, today is me, is Gustavo Sparrow, and I will be helping you achieve your dreams. So let's see if it will. What I actually did is selected some problems that we have. Some of them we have already solved for people that is already in the Premium Academy, but they are really, really amazing. I hope that you will love them also. Let me just put it in big screen. Yeah.
While you are preparing, perhaps I've seen that someone just raised hand, so perhaps we can just check. So Ulubek, do you have any questions so far that you wanted to share? Not yet?
No question?
Okay, so I think that we can get started. Thank you, Gustavo.
Okay, thank you. So here are my contacts. You can find me and reach me out on Slack. I'm usually using more the VanHackers Slack, but also I'm in the VanHackathon. And here you can find my LinkedIn if you want to keep in contact. And yeah, let's start. So we are starting with 2 graph problems that are pretty simple, and then we are going to the system design problems. Just for you to understand where we are right now in this season of the VanHack Premium Academy, we are in this special class of graphs and online storage system design. Every season is actually 3 months, and next week we are continuing with dynamic programming. That is one of the most difficult topics that usually candidates have difficulties for in interviews. It's really hard. And then we'll be working on system design problems. This class specifically is once a week, so you are also going to have classes with other instructors with different things, and all of them will help you, including English classes and other things that Camila can give you more details. But just for you to understand, this one is a special one. And let's start with graphs. So that's something that some of you have already seen, but repetition is key. As I always say, it's very important for you to practice a lot, and you need to be able to solve this kind of problem in less than 45 minutes. That's the ideal world. So for each of them, we need to solve in less than 45 minutes. Let's start here. So just for you to remember, what is a graph? Graph is just a lot of nodes that are connected, and you can have cycles in a graph. Trees, on the other hand, they don't have cycles. They are connected, but you cannot have them connected. For example, these two nodes also connected. You cannot have a cycle. If you choose a path, you will go all the way and you will not be able to reach a node that you have already visited before. So that's the difference between graphs and trees. So trees are also graphs, but a graph is not necessarily a tree. Okay, there are some very important things that we say in class for you to remember and not make confusion during an interview. For example, that you can have a binary tree and you can also have a binary search tree. They are different and they are very important for you in an interview and in life, actually. So that's also why I really like to keep in practice with all those things, because we use it every day, or not all there is those data structures, but you should know them. Okay, and we have two ways to traverse a graph or a tree: the breadth-first search and the depth-first search. The breadth-first search, if you remember, or if you have ever seen this way, the breadth-first search uses a queue for you to implement this. A queue is the first in, first out. You probably have seen this before. And you are always starting from the node, and you're visiting all the nodes that are closer to you. So if I'm starting from node 1, then I will visit node 2, 3, and 4. And only after visiting all those nodes, I'm going to the next level, and I'm going to visit 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's how a breadth-first search works. If you ask why I need to know those things, I have received this kind of question from students. And what I can tell you is that this is very important, because if you, for example, are implementing your own web crawler, you should be visiting pages in a breadth-first search way, because you can have this power of abstraction and see the web as a graph. Obviously, each page is a node, and they are connected through links. And what happens is that you should visit the pages that are closer to you instead of going deep, because if you go deep on the web, what will happen is that you will get lost. You will not be visiting all the pages that are closer to the one that you are. You need to visit the entire domain, then you can go deeper and deeper. That's another question that usually appears in interviews, so that you should totally know about how web crawlers work and breadth-first search and how important is this way to traverse a graph. It's easy to implement, but the DFS is even easier, because you can use recursion for DFS. Recursion, different from using a queue, we use a stack. So a stack is used for depth-first search, and that's why recursion works for depth-first search, because when you use recursion, you're actually using the memory stack. So each function call, you're actually adding and pushing to the top of your stack, and then every time you're finished running a specific function, you just pop out that specific function call, and then you can keep visiting all the possibilities here. But how this works, depth-first search, if you don't remember, you start, for example, from node 1, then you call the function, and you start visiting one of those different nodes here. For example, you can start from node 2. Then if you visit node 2, you will keep moving, keep going. You can, for example, keep moving to node 3, then node 4. And only when you arrive at node 4, you go back and visit other nodes. So that's the difference. That's why we say depth, because you go deep, and only when you go deep enough and you find a leaf on a tree, for example, is when you have a node that don't have any other node attached to it or linked to it. So you just go back and you can visit node 5, then node 6. Then only after visiting this entire side, you can visit node 7 and keep moving to the other side. Fine. I think that's all the theory that you need to solve the two problems that we are going to solve today. And then we we'll go to system design. There are so many things for we to discuss. Questions, please? No questions? I see that.
Yes, I have one
please,
question.
Please. Yeah.
In the first example that you tell about, I like if you give us one example of the real life for that.
Okay, you mean the first example, the BFS or the DFS?
Both. One
Both.
for BFS
Okay.
in the real life, for example, in one page that you have one chart or something like this, you have one product, and you will use this in the right way, in this kind.
Okay.
In the bad case is in this, and this is better for that.
Okay, okay. So as I was saying, let me show you something. For breadth first search, as I said, a web crawler is a good example. For depth first search, you usually you use depth first search for most of the cases because it's enough for you to visit everything. So for example, you can use the depth first search for example, for social network when you need to explore some to know how many levels you are from another friend, another person. You can also use BFS for shortest path. When you call an Uber driver and you want to go from your home to another place, you need to find the shortest path. For example, you can use the Dijkstra algorithm or the A-star, and you will be implementing the BFS. Another example would be for games. If you are actually making a specific character moving from one place to another over a matrix, you will also be implementing graph traversal to know the path that you should be following. And for social networks, for example, if they request you to create an algorithm to recommend a friend for someone, you should be using, for example, BFS to know people that are closer to you and to recommend this person to someone. So as I'm saying, let me show you something. I think a really good question, because it's important for you to understand why it's important and why the companies are using algorithm problems to verify and to find a good candidate. Because it's very common for we to always be implementing just crude curate, read, update, delete applications, and we sometimes forget that there are some problems that the companies are looking for, and you should be able to find a good solution for something. So let me show you. I think I need to share it again. Let's take it just a second. Yeah. Here. See that? Now let's go here. Yeah, here it is. So can you see this empty screen, I think? So let me explain to you. I think you cannot see this. Let me just do something here. Wait a minute. Yeah, it will work better. Yeah, let me share again my screen. Here it is. So, well, what I mean is that, for example, for web pages, if you are crawling through a specific index page, you have this index.html that you are visiting from a specific domain. For example, you are in the, I don't know, the Amazon.com, yeah, and you are crawling through all the products that you have there. What you should be doing is, you can see that this page is actually a node, and you should be crawling through all the other pages that are connected to this one. So what you need to actually do is, you need to visit pages that are closer to you, other pages that are from Amazon.com, for example.
Maybe it's good just to clarify and ask if everyone here know what is crawling one page.
Yeah, good thing. What is a web crawler is, as you know, Google allows you to search for anything. But how it works? Actually, Google has crawlers that are software that is capable of exploring the web and scrapping a little bit of content from those pages that it's crawling and put it in a database. And that's another good question for an interview, that what kind of database are you going to use for search, for example? So if you're going to get a lot of information from the web to be able to search for something pretty fast, you can talk about, for example, the Elasticsearch, Lucene, or Solr. So you have specific databases for this kind of thing, non-SQL databases. And you should be able to get all this content, put it in a database, but how you are crawling through the web, consider that the web has so many pages, you can get lost easily on the web. So that's why you get all this content, put it in a database, and you will be able to use another application or software to search in that database, look for information that we are looking on the web. So what web crawler is this: you have a robot, you have something that we'll be visiting. For example, we are starting from this page here, and we need to extract some content, put this content inside the database, and we keep moving, go to the next level, explore this page, get some content, put to the database, and that's what is happening here. And the problem is you need to use the BFS, as I said, because you cannot just keep going and entering into links, because you know that the internet is almost infinite. So you will be just crawling and crawling and crawling, and you will not be able to, for example, index. By index, I mean add all the products that Amazon has into the database. So you should first explore everything that you have in that level before going deep. Am I clear? Could you understand this? I can give you now another example if that's okay for you all. This first one. Because as you know, if you just keep using the depth first search and going deep, you're going to visit so many pages that are related to other things that you are not going to visit the Amazon pages first. You will need to, after visiting all, you will go back and visit other pages here. But that takes a lot of time. So another good example is social networks, as I said. So you can have, for example, Camila is here. Let's consider that Camila is my friend on Facebook. And we have, for example, let's consider we have Patricia that is also here. That is a friend of Camila. How can we create an algorithm to recommend for Gustavo, for example, friends? We totally know that we should recommend Patricia, for example, because it's closer to Gustavo. Consider that in this case, we only have Camila in the middle. So we can use also BFS for this kind of problem because we are capable of reaching the nodes that are closer to you, starting from Gustavo. So you can start from Gustavo, visiting my friends, in this case, Camila, and I can get the connections of my friends and use them to recommend me something. So that's how you should, for example, create an algorithm to recommend friends to someone. So that's really important also. Yeah. So graphs can be used for so many applications. And as I said, also not for only this, if you're going from a place A to a place, I don't know, E, and you want to find the shortest path, you can have here different places. And all the nodes are connected to each other, and this connection that are these edges, they can have a way. By a way, I mean that they can have, for example, the distance between one node and the other node. So for example, from A to B, maybe I need to walk 100 meters. And from A to C, maybe I need to walk 300 meters. From B to D, maybe I need to walk 500 meters. And maybe I have another option of going from C to E in just 50 meters. Then I need to find the shortest path. So I need to traverse this graph and explore and know what's the shortest path to go to E, for example. Yeah. Is it clear? Do you have, I don't know if you all were able to understand this, just examples.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So yeah, and now let's go back to the slides, because now we're going actually to implement something. Let's go to LeetCode. Yeah, I hope you can see now the screen again. And let's go to this. Okay, these two problems, they are really nice. I did them with the students, with the candidates that we have on VanHack Premium Academy a few weeks ago. And I think that they are not very hard to understand. They are really nice. And we can use both the breadth-first search or the depth-first search to solve them. So I think it's a really good problem. Those problems are very famous. They have appeared in big tech companies also, and they can appear for your interview and also for real life, some real life problems. You can just, let me send you this link. Let me just send you this. And then we are going back to the system design problems right after this one. This two. Oh, sorry, you're seeing my solution. You shouldn't be seeing. Okay, now let's go. Here's the problem description, and you should be practicing a lot this kind of problems. I like to do this kind of problems as a hobby, because I think that's really nice. You see that you will also love this kind of thing with time. It's just like going to the gym. You need to keep going until you start liking this kind of thing. Usually that's what happened, I think. But yeah, number of islands. We're receiving a matrix m times n, a 2D binary grid, where when we find a number 1 in the grid, it means that it's a land. And we find a number 0, it means water. What we should do is actually return the number of islands. And what is important here is the definition of an island. An island is surrounded by water, but we need to understand that water horizontally or vertically, not diagonal. So we should assume that it's an island when we find this. So let's see this first example here. We have this grid. Let's see how many islands we have. We have an island here. I think a single island. Yes, this one. I was able to find all of them. So as you can see, where we have water is around, and when we have this one is the island. You can see that looks easy, I think. Let's go to the next example. Here, example 2. In this one, we can find an island here. And we can find another island here. And another one here. As you can see, this island here is not connected to this other one. It's not a single island because they are only connected in the diagonal. So it's not horizontally or vertically. So that's why it's not considered the same island. So to solve this kind of problem, you need to look for each cell and see what is around. So if you are here, you could find here an island. You should look on top, to the left, to the right, and bottom. Don't need to worry about the diagonal. And that's it. So I think we could, if you prefer, we can do this together. But the second one, I would like to use the breakout rooms for 5 minutes, because it will be very easy for you to find a solution. And then we can come back to here. But let's start. What do you think we should do here to solve this problem? As you can see, we are receiving, we need to complete this function called number of islands. I'm just receiving this grid, and I will return the number of islands. That's it. And that's what you will find. Also in the VanHack Code Challenge, you will see something like this. The platform is pretty similar to this one, and you can select any language you want. But for the VanHack Premium Academy, the Code Challenge that you are going to solve, you select the language before doing the test. For those practice problems that we do in class and you'll be doing on a daily basis, you can select during the problem that you're solving. So in my case, I'm choosing C#, but you can pick anything that you want to do. Yeah. Suggestions, please. How can we solve this problem? Let's discuss this first. We can use also brute force. If you want to discuss brute force problem, we can talk about it. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Michael, it's confusing. Well, everyone's surrounded by zeros and it's island. Yeah. Yes, I totally see. Yes, it can be surrounded by zeros, but just imagine that the size of the grid is the size of your map. Also, that's how Warcraft and all those games that you used to see from the top, you know that strategy games like StarCraft, Warcraft, Age of Empires, you have a limit, you have a border, so that's the size of your map. And so consider that the size of the map is what we can see here in the matrix. So for example, those number ones here on top left, they are actually they are close to the border, so you can consider them that they have water around, that they are an island. But let's see more. Only horizontal or vertical? Yes, only horizontal and vertical. For direction are allowed for traversal. Right top, down, right, left. Yes, we can traverse using the diagonal, but will not be useful for anything. So we will be only doing this. We can also actually traverse considering all the different directions. So there are some tips that we usually give you all that you can use in the interview. So for example, don't worry too much if you should be only searching for the right or down, because you're not going up starting from the first line, because we can avoid this kind of problem. Yeah, please. Any question? You can also unmute yourself if you want and come. I'm not taking a lot of attention to hands up, but feel free to talk. Okay, we have it here. If we used a nested for loop, we don't have to consider top direction, right? Yes, but no, actually no. That's a good question that David is asking, because we should consider also going up. Let me show you an example. Imagine that we have something like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Then we have 0, 0, 1. No, let me remove this one here to make it more clear. 0, 1, 0, 0. So in a real interview and in real life, you need to think about corner cases. And that's a case that is not easy to see, because this item here, as you can see, it's going up here. It's connected. So if you don't explore going up, maybe you count wrong the number of islands here. So that's why you need to also look to the top. Let's see another one. I think we should have visited array to keep note of neighbors then. Right, we should know which cells we have already visited. We can do two things. That's a good tip for you. We can create another array for another matrix, for example, where in each position we can say that it was visited or not. We can create a Boolean matrix and just set that position to true or false. On the other hand, we can also, and that's a good tip, you can destroy your input in most of those problems. In real life, no, you shouldn't destroy your grid probably. But to solve this kind of problems, you can destroy the grid and you will be solving memory. And that changes the space complexity that you are using to solve a problem. So that's really nice. As I am saying to you, you can just, for example, if you have visited the first position here, you can change this position from 1 to 0, and that's fine. You have already visited that position. You destroyed this information because you know it's a matrix, so you have a reference to this memory area of memory here. But you can keep doing this. You can go to the next one here, put a 0, and you are removing the number 1, keep moving, and you are removing this number 1. And that's how it goes. That's okay. Let's see. There are more questions, more things, more suggestions. Let's see.
Sorry, Gustavo. Just one question.
Please.
If the grid is all made of ones, is it considered one island or just a piece of land that's not an island?
Nice question. Really nice question. One island. If we have, just because that's what we can. There is no. That's really important, and sometimes we have this kind of doubt. If it, for example, explain that we should have, we can have something that is not an island, but actually, I don't know, a single place where you can have just land. Yes, just land. That's fine. But what it wants is just to detect the number of islands, and this part of the map, we can just consider that every number 1 is an island and not the entire land, for example. That's a good question. If you are in an interview in person, I mean in real time with an interviewer, you can ask this to him. And that's really nice for you to ask this kind of information, because you don't have much information about the problem, so you should ask. And you will see that for system design problems, you need to ask a lot of things, because one of the things that they want to see is that if you are capable, they want to check if you are capable of extracting information from your interviewer, because in a real life, you need to extract information from your client to know all the requirements for the problem. So you need to know what are the functional requirements and non-functional requirements. Yeah, please.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you. So let's see more. I think we should have visited array to keep note of neighbors. Yes, we can. We should use the queue to keep track of those we need to check neighbors. Yeah. If Isa is saying something interesting here. If we are going to implement actually the breadth first search, we need to use the queue. So we will be adding all the neighbors to this queue. And why? Because we need to explore when we find an island. So that's the secret of this problem, actually. When you find an island, when you find a number 1, you should call the BFS or the DFS to explore everything that is around. So you will not count that specific island as more than 1 when you are exploring. So every time you find an island, a number 1, explore the entire islands, then you go back where you have started and keep exploring the map. So that's actually the secret of this problem. Let's see more.
But
yeah,
for
please.
for this problem, is necessary just to count the number of islands, or know in what position this island will be?
Just count the number of islands, and that's fine.
Because maybe for that we can filter each array and count the final length of the new array generated. But we need to push one new array of arrays for each row that we will count. For that is one possible solution, I think.
So let's see your possible solution. You mean we could be just counting? You mean just create a 4 inside another 4 and counting the number of ones, you mean? Or how? Yeah, because for example, in JavaScript, you will use the functional programming and filter method for arrays. I don't know if C# have this one type of lambda for that. Yeah.
And just for count, this is useful, but for more complex solution to know which position, we need other algorithm for that.
Yes. It will not be enough, because if we just count, we will be counting more items than we actually have, because we need to be exploring what is connected to that number 1 that you could find. So we cannot just count the number of number 1s or number 1s that are on the same line. Yes, that's why. Good question.
The criteria for to be one island is be in the side of the other ones.
Oh, yes, exactly. The idea is to find those that are connected to each other, that are on the side of the other one, horizontally and vertically.
For example, in the first array, we have one island.
And exactly. The first array is just one island. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here.
If in the second line we have 2 ones side by side, this is one island too.
Oh, yes. If we have in this position, for example, that vertically is connected to, it's still a single island, would be just a single island here. But if you have these 2 ones,
number of islands in the complete grid. Oh, I know now.
Yeah, surrounded by water. Yes, surrounded by water vertically and horizontally. So if we have these other two numbers, one here, we have another island because we have zeros between one island and the other one.
Oh no, our first acceptance criteria is that the expected result is 2 islands in the text.
In the second one, yes. Let's go here.
Okay.
To the second one. Yeah. So in this one we have 3 islands because we have this one. This one here is not connected to any other one vertically and horizontally. That's what you need to see here.
Okay.
Horizontally we have 0, 0, and vertically 0, 0. So that's why it's single. And we have another one right here, as you can see. Yep. Let's see more suggestions. Can you go to do the DFS, keep track, check neighbors, the input ons, process it? Yes, we can use the DFS also. We will work just like the BFS, or we also can change original grid and replace ones with 0. Yeah, that's the idea that we were talking about. That's fantastic. I think maybe a hash map to store each island, which has a linked list, and then hopefully that will give a way of keep tracking of the islands. We can also do something like this, but we are going to consume a lot of memory if you create a hash map and use the linked list. I don't think it's necessary because, yeah, you're not getting speed or anything. You still need to visit everything. Usually hash maps, they appear a lot in interviews and in real life because they are pretty fast for you to search for something. But in this case, we need to explore the entire map. We don't have any other option because we don't know if in a part of the map that is unexplored, we have an island there. So we need to explore everything. And we can just keep track using, can be just another matrix, or we can destroy the input as we were talking about, putting 0 instead of 1 in each place. So yeah, I think that your idea is interesting for another problem that we use a combination of hash map and linked list. That is how you create your own cache, like the least recently used cache, LRU cache, like Redis. Redis is implemented using a hash map in combination with a linked list. That was a good question for another candidate, another students a few months ago. And I really like this because sometimes we think, oh, why in a real life I would use a linked list? We actually use linked lists all the time, but not all of us are working on some of the tools that we use on a daily basis. It's really nice to know how they work under the hood. We can use modified DFS to reach 1 on the 4 directions. Yeah, to reach 1 on the 4 directions. Yeah, perfect. I agree with Omar. I'm having such a hard time visualizing the also DFS. Is there any resource that is recommended to explain it for? Yes, the DFS and the BFS. Let me show you. Yep. Usually I really like Wikipedia, believe it or not, for explaining this kind of thing. Let me just erase this. The depth first search here, where I took the image, it's not something protected. So let me show you. There is an animation here somewhere. Here, you see it. When visiting 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Too fast. But yeah, again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's what is happening. I'm going to visiting all the way instead of visiting the nodes that are closer to where you started exploring the graph. So that's the difference between the DFS and the BFS, because the BFS, you actually explore what is closer to you. Let's now see the BFS example. BFS wiki. You will see that is, okay, here is the animation. As you can see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We are not going deep before exploring what is closer to the one that we started. A, then B, and C. Then we go to D, E, F, G. We are not going deep like the DFS. For BFS, usually I say for the students that we are actually are exploring, just like the Wi-Fi symbol that we have, that symbol of Wi-Fi is, you know, with the waves here. We start from a place and go to the next level of the graph or the tree, and go again to the next level, and that's how we go. That's the BFS. For the DFS, you go all the way. I hope it will be more clear, but I totally suggest you all to keep studying. There is some really nice books to study the algorithms and really nice videos also on the internet. We can talk more about this later, but yeah, let's see more suggestions and start finishing this exercise because I need to finish this before the system design. We need to find the maximal result. Is a detail one by, okay, thank you. Yeah, Free Blue One Brown is a fantastic YouTube channel, very animated with very easy to understand. So yeah, thank you. No, go John. I think this one is a really nice to people to learn, and also it's in English. It's good for them, for everyone to keep in touch and training. That's fantastic. Yeah, we have some really good also information from universities, and yeah, let me also send you the book that I always used is the Introduction to Algorithms by Thomas H. Martin.
It's possible we receive this presentation after this call or
yes,
this
I
exercise?
Send you, yes, I can send you. I will generate here and I will send you after this. At the end of the meeting, while Camila is talking, I will send you to you all here. Yeah, let me just open to you this one. Introduction to Algorithms. Yeah, this one, I think. Yeah, this book here is the one that I recommend you all. And another one, oh, thank you that you're loving the session. I'm sorry, I know that we have different levels in classes and that's totally normal. So if you already know the solution for this problem, don't feel with hurry because we are going to more new things. Another thing that I would like to introduce you all, probably most of you already know, and students, is this book, The Cracking the Code Interview. It's a really nice book. It's a Bible of the algorithms for you all to study, and it's really nice from Gail McDowell, and we have so many problems here to solve. Let me also send a link. I think that this one, I don't think you have a digital version for this one, but I'm not sure. Coding interview, and you will see that many problems like the ones that we are talking about. So let's see, here it is. Yeah, this book here. Yeah, they don't have a Kindle version, but let me send you. Yes, the MIT channel is fantastic. Omar is suggesting is a fantastic source for information and for you to learn more about everything. So this book is also fantastic. You have algorithm problems, you have system design problems. I think the number of islands is also in this book. It's a very common problem. So yeah, let's go here. And now let's solve this problem. So what can we do to solve this problem? As I said, we can pick any of the two possibilities, the BFS or the DFS. So I see that some of you are suggesting the DFS. The DFS is pretty easy to be implemented. Let's use the DFS, that's fine. And what we actually need to do is, first, we need to create a variable that will contain the result of what we want. So we can create something like number of islands. And that's another good tip for you. Always create good names for variables and functions. Don't do everything in a single function. If the interviewer will review your code or use it to select a candidate, and in real life, you know, we need to give good names to everything. So clean code is a must-have book. You all should also read from Robert Martin. Clean code is fantastic. I think most of you have seen this before, probably, I don't know, but it's really, really nice. Let me see clean code. Yeah, here it is. Let me send you this one. Here it is. What is? Chat. Here. Yeah, clean code. Button where to apply what? Yes, good thing that Albert is talking about. Oh, there's an EPUB version for this book at Apple. Fantastic, Gerardo. And yes, to know the pattern when to use everything takes time. We need to practice a lot. Can you please explain the process? Yes. So for this problem, for example, good thing. As I'm saying, first, you understood the problems. Another thing that you should do that I forgot to mention is verify the constraints, because the constraints are the limits. So for example, as we can see, M here we can see is considered the grid.length is, so it's can be considered the size of the number of rows, for example, of this grid, and N could be the size of the columns of this grid. And as we can see, M and N will be more or equal to 1, or I mean, at least one single row and one single column, or less than or equal to 300. So it means that at the maximum, we are going to have 300 columns and rows in this solution. And as we can see here, the grid can be, any position can be 0 or 1. There's no other option. You will not find 2, for example. So you don't need to care about you thinking about a corner case of finding a number 3 in a position. Don't worry about it. You will not receive it in your function. In real life, you should validate if what you have in that position is valid or not. So, or you will throw an exception, or you will return a -1 to mean that there is no island at all, or actually 0, or you can see that it's invalid or whatever. You need to do something about it. But yeah, the constraints are important for you to see. And what we are going to do, instead of just typing everything, we are going to call, we need to, here in this function, the number of islands that we receive when we are starting the problem. Let me just reset again for you to see. Here, just reset, I'm using C#. We need to explore the map. That's the first thing that we are going to do. Explore the map. Second thing that we need to do, inside this, while we are exploring the map, we should actually verify if, sorry, let me just put this, if we could find, if we are in an island, I mean, we could find number 1, we call DFS. So we are going to call DFS, to explore this island where we are right now. So that's what we are going to do. We explore the map. While we are exploring the map, if we find an island, we call DFS and explore the island where we are. And that's what we need to do. In another function, we are going to have this private, can be something like, let's call explore the island. I know that C# we start with uppercase. I know that this is weird, but that's a pattern. So we explore the island and we receive here this char grid, and we are going to explore the island in a DFS way. So let's just put DFS at the end, so we know that we are using the DFS. And if we're going to use DFS, we can use this stack, as I said before, or we can use recursion. We need to be careful with recursion. The interviewer can ask you why recursion is a problem. It's because recursion can lead us to stack overflow, because we are using the memory stack instead of creating the stack data structure itself. But that's okay. That's fine. You can use, also because we don't have so many positions, as we can see here, from 1 to 30, 300 on number of rows and 4 columns. That's not too much. That's not a problem. We are not going to get a stack overflow in no way. So that's fantastic. And what else? Yep, that's it. That's what we need to do. That's all. And important in the explore the island, we need to explore all the ways. Explore, look to the top, look to the right, to the left, look left, and bottom, down, look bottom or down, whatever. Yes, that's it.
I have a question.
Yep,
would it
please.
be possible to have this like a recursion call and then send 4 calls, one to the top, one to the right, one to the left, one for down, and then like add all the results?
Perfect. Yes, exactly. And that's actually what we are going to do. And recursion is very important for we to know recursion. Not that we are going to use in real life, because usually we are not using recursion in real life, but it's very important for us to understand the problem, to solve the problem. Even for dynamic programming problems, we usually are able and should be starting with recursion. Then we can see what we can do to reuse some things that we have already solved before. So recursion is very important. And every time we call the same function to visit and explore the top, to the right, the left, or down, what is actually happening here is that we are exploring in all the time, all the possibilities using this kind of brute force that we are actually doing here, and avoiding creating some complicated code. But yeah, let's go. If you all feel that we are ready, let's do this. It's not hard to do. We are almost 1 hour of class. We still need to do a lot of other things, but let's keep going. So what else we need to do now? You said yes. So is the process okay? Do you all could understand what I said here? Is it easy to understand?
Yes, it is. Will the use case be, I mean, the base case, the same 0.101 that you have on top? I mean, let's say that we are in a nested for loop, and then if the current position that I'm visiting is A1, then I will call the explore island DFS.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes, but let's do this. But let's start from the main function here, this num islands. Let's just create this for that we are going to explore. I mean, all the possibilities. Wait a minute. Let me create the function, the variable that will return the number of islands again, number of islands, and then we can create this for. So you can consider row or column. Usually what I do is it will be the rows in which row I am right now. So this row will be less than the grid dot length, and what I'm going to do is row plus plus. I'm just
inside of the platform, you can't use the constraints.
I can't use the constraint. I shouldn't use the constraints, because what it is saying here is that the maximum will be 300, but it doesn't mean that the test cases that will be checked through against our solution will have 300 as with this maximum number of rows and columns. So that's why you should use based on the length, because you don't know if you're going to have 300 or not. So
okay,
we need to be careful. Yeah. Same thing for columns. For the number of columns, we just have here the call, and we're starting from 0. You just put it closer to each other. That's fine. And columns will be columns less than grid dot position 0 dot length. Yeah, and column plus plus. Yeah. So we are just exploring the map. Now we need to check what is in the position where we are right now. We just check if the current position. So let me copy it from here, what we were writing down. If we are in an island, so here we are exploring the map, we just go and explore this island. So if we are in an island, so if grid position of row and column equal 1, we are in an island, then we go and explore the island. So, and we need to, if we are in an island, we can already, we can change the number of islands here. We can increment this. So we just do plus plus. We are incrementing the number of islands, and we go and explore the island. So let me copy this. Call DFS to explore the island. Explore the island, DFS. That's it. So we passed the grid. What else we need? Nothing.
Row
else.
and column.
Oh yeah, row and column. Thank you. Row and column. Let me update the other function. Yeah, that's it. And finally, when we finish this, we just return the number of islands. That's all. I think we don't need to do anything else. Yeah, please.
There's a comment about the value type in the comparison. In the if, we should check as a character.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, you're right, Patricia, because it's not a number. It's not a member grid. It's a char character. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very
There's
much.
a guy who mentioned that.
Oh, sorry, I haven't read that. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you both.
Let's go on.
Yeah. Yes, and Gabriel also said, I think the correct is grid 0.length. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That is a dot here. Yeah, thank you. I think it will pass with so many people helping to see if it's right. I think it will just work first time. So now, yeah, let's think about the base case of this DFS, because I think the main function is already done. We are in an island. We need to explore all the different directions. What should we do right now? First thing, we need to know if we shouldn't explore the current position. We need to know if we are in a valid position or not, right?
I do apologize, Gustavo. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but shouldn't it, on the line 7, shouldn't it be grid row?
Oh,
because it's grid 0. Shouldn't be grid row?
But could be. But what happens? Oh, I'm sorry. You're actually right. No, this one don't need to be, because I consider that it's a matrix, and this number of it will have a square, a perfect square, or it will be a perfect grid. We are not going to have, for example, a row with more columns than another row. That's a good question, but it will not happen, because they will be. Yeah, it's an n times n 2D binary grid, which represents. It's just because it's a perfect matrix. I think it should be mentioned more clearly here. But if it fails for any reason, we could just use here the row position and get the length of that row. That's also fine. But we can use 0 in this one, because I have already done this before. But yeah, you could totally use row here.
Sorry, Gustavo. As you said at the beginning of the description of the program, the problem, it's n times n, so it's a matrix. That's why that's okay with 0 or row. That's no difference.
Yeah, you're right. It can have more rows than columns, but the number of columns will be always the same, and the number of rows will always be the same. Yes, for each, it will not change. But it can be not exactly a perfect square, because it's not n times n, but it will be with a specific number for columns and rows. Will not change randomly in the middle of it. Yes, it will not have something like this. It will never happen. It will always be a perfect something here. Yeah. Thank you both. And so explore the island DFS. Okay, now let's see. We need to verify if we are in a valid position. Are we in a valid position? So that's what we need to check. So we just verify if, first thing, is this row valid? Let's see if we are trying to access a position that is not valid. Like, for example, this row is more or equal to grid.length. That's not valid. We are trying to access an out of bounds position. But what we are actually checking here, let me give more space here. Yeah, what we are actually doing this is, if we have here our matrix, we are trying to access a position that it comes after the row limits. So trying to access something here, it doesn't make any sense to do something like this. So that's what we are checking. Another thing, or if the current row is something like less than 0, is also invalid. If row is less than 0, it's invalid. Let's see another one. If we are, yeah, please. Yes.
Would it ever happen because you're sending to this function the parameter of the row and column that you're in the position. So
yeah,
it will just happen when you're checking the neighbors,
good question.
not for this case, I think.
Yes, really good question. Actually, I don't need to return anything here. I think we don't need to, because we are just exploring. But it's because I'm going to do a lazy exploration of this island. I'm going to call the same function, not checking anything. I will just do what I think one of you have said before. I'm just going to call explore the island, DFS passing the grid, and for example, row +1 and the same column. Yeah, it's lazy, but that's really nice because we don't need to think about it before calling it to each of them. So for example, it's for all of them. Row +1, we're visiting what is down. We need to visit the previous row, because as some of you have also asked, we need to visit the top because maybe the island is doing a movement going to the top. We need to visit
the column,
same row, +1 column, and also last column. And that's it, because we are not going to check the diagonal, so it's just up, down, left to right, and that's it. Very lazy, so we need to trust in this condition here. It will be very important. And same thing, grid position 0 or row, it doesn't matter. We checked that it's not a problem. If it's more than this position, it's not valid. If the column is also less than 0, we are out of bounds. And obviously, if it's a water, we don't need to do anything. If it's a water, so if grid, row, and column is equal to 0, I will not forget, Patricia, about this character, we just return. We don't call anymore, because we are not, at this moment, we are not in island anymore. We are in the water. We don't need to visit anything. And that's it, actually. Yes, another thing, after visiting, if we are in a valid position, we need to do what you all have discussed before, mark that position as visited. So just grid, row, and column. I think we need to go to the system design right after this one. The other one will be homework for you all, a challenge for you to do. But let's see. 0, we are just consider mark as visited. That's what we are going to do. Questions, please check if I'm missing something here.
Excuse me, a question.
Yeah, please.
Why we are changing the grid? Can we create a grid for visited?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat, please?
We are changing that grid, the original grid. Why it isn't better to create another grid when we said we visited position?
Okay. Yeah. So the strategy that I'm using here is to use the original grid, because as you know, this one and also this one are referencing the same position in the RAM memory. So both of them are actually, we have here the RAM memory, they are referencing the same area of the memory where we have the grid. So what is happening is that when we are changing this, when I'm doing this line here, mark as visited, I'm actually destroying the original map. I'm just saying that it was already visited. You can consider this as in those games that I was talking about, StarCraft, Warcraft, Age of Empires, and all those strategy games that you have this view from the top. Every time you explore the map, it just changes from the black screen that you haven't visited to something that you have already visited. So you can consider that we are doing something like this, just visiting, but it's not what you would do in the real world. You would never destroy the information that you have received unless you can do this for any real world problem. But yes, they are referencing the same thing, and I'm destroying. I could create another structure, another matrix, or use the idea of using a linked list or the dictionary to have this information. But here's the difference. And the interviewer is going to ask this for you. Also, in real life, you should be careful with this because you want to save memory, yes? So if you're using the same input that you have received in your function, the space complexity, this big O notation is essential. You should know all about this. The Cracking the Code interview book explained this. The Corman book explained. And what it means is that this big O notation means the worst case. In the worst case, how much memory we need. And in the worst case, how many iterations will be necessary to finish your algorithm. So for space complexity, how much space will be necessary for our solution? Will be
double memory.
In this case, will be just big O of 1. That's weird, but it's because we are not creating anything based on the size of the input and the number of elements that you are entering in your function. So I mean that the space complexity big O of 1 because this 1 means constant time. It's not exactly 1. We know we are creating a variable here. We are creating a variable here. We are also creating many variables related to this recursion here. We can consider the recursion of using more space complexity, just big O of n, because we are using the stack memory, but we are not creating another structure as another grid to actually have a space complexity of big O of n times n, for example. But that's why we can consider something like this, constant time. But if we create another structure, we will be increasing this. And for the time complexity, for this problem, time complexity will be big O of m times n times n. Why? Because we are exploring the entire map. So we are exploring all the n and m positions that we have. We need to explore the entire grid. So that's why the big O notation will need to be used here. And another thing that people sometimes ask is that they are not very often they use it in real life. They should actually, but you should know this because you cannot use time to measure the speed of your algorithm, because computers are always becoming better, faster. And if you use time, for example, my algorithm runs in 5 minutes. I have discovered a new algorithm that will run in 2 minutes. It doesn't make any sense because tomorrow we are going to have another computer that will be much faster, and maybe both of them will be finished in just a few milliseconds. So that's why we always measure the time complexity of your algorithm using the big O notation usually. So if you want a link, also the Wikipedia is fantastic, but also the books that I'm mentioning, you totally should use them. Just a second. Something.
You will see this resolution for us too.
Yep, right now.
Because your notes on the code with the code is very good to study after.
Oh, thank you. I will send you to you all, and also the slides. Let me just. Okay, something bugged here. Let me just share again. My drawing was permanently on the screen. So yeah, video notation. Let me send you this.
One question.
Yep.
You believe that, or you know that is most common in hiring process to receive algorithm problems that real life problems, for example?
Yeah. No. It depends. Usually in the first step in the interview, you will solve problems like this with something very random and very not very specific. But in a real life problem, they will probably ask you, just like the next problem that we are going to solve, the system design problem. They will probably ask you something related to what problem that they had before, or some kind of challenge for you to show your previous experience. That's something that you will see. So, but initially, to filter a little bit the number of candidates, the coding challenges, just like this one. And this one was asked by many different companies, including big tech companies. And it's very useful because they can just send you an email with a link for you to solve the problem on HackerRank or LeetCode or CodeSign any of those coding platforms, and they will be able to see if the candidate is ready or not for the in-person interview, because it's very expensive for them to make a real interview with a candidate, because it's human time that will be with you. It's different from solving this, so it's probably necessary for most of the job roles. If any of you here is applying for job roles a little bit different, that is not so technical, don't worry, because for system design problems, you totally should have something to talk with your interviewer, and this can happen also. But yeah, good question. Let's test this. I don't know if I'm missing something, maybe, but let's see.
I have a question. If we leave it as it is, aren't we adding everyone? I mean, for example, on the first example, we will be adding, like, on the first row, we will have 4 islands, and that's actually not true, because we said before that it's only when they are all surrounded by water, by zeros.
Yes, it's not getting. We are not outputting 4 islands in this example, the example 2, just because we are not verifying the diagonal. For example, this one and this one, comparing with this position. As we can see here in the way that I'm doing to explore the island, I'm just verifying going to in this case, down, top, right, and left. That's what I'm doing. I'm not comparing, checking the diagonal, just because of that. But maybe they can give you a different problem that is similar to this one, and you need to pay attention to that. Yeah, okay. That's something that they do. We need to be careful with this. Sometimes they take a common problem that they know that people already know, and to see if they have just, I don't know, memorized that problem, they can change a little bit and see if you are capable of solving the problem. So yeah, that can happen. Let's see if it will pass now. I think there's something else that I'm missing. No, it's accepted. Let's submit. Okay, then you run code. It will run your code against some test cases, not all. Then you need to submit. The same thing happens to all the platforms, including the HackerRank, that you need to do. And it worked. That's fine. You can see 207 milliseconds, faster than 22.41%. Memory usage, it's also considerate. So that's why I say to you, you should save memory. So yeah, that's something that we need to be careful. Questions? Let me send you this code. You can also try. Let me use the paste bin, and we will send you the...
Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you. Actually, I have a question.
Please.
Actually, the recursive function we used to call again and again, so it doesn't return anything. So how the expected the output is coming in 1 only?
Oh,
because the function didn't respond anything and didn't what anything, because
good question.
Can you please go back to the coding?
Yep.
Yeah, can you please the line number 10, the number of islands. Line number 10, yes. Actually, when the compiler reaches that position, it will increase it by 1.
Oh,
but
yes.
And it's a, I think it's more, it's a great, it could be a it will be more than 1, like it's reaching to that position on every row by row and column by column. So it will, I think it count only ones, how many ones that grid have.
Oh, yeah.
Then returning only 1. This is why I confuse me. This is one thing. I have another thing, but I will ask you later. Okay. But can you please explain me this once?
Yeah, good question. And that's the secret here. So what is happening is that we are only counting once. And we need to trust in this explore the island function that is destroying the original input. It's destroying the grid. So when we find the number 1, we explore the island, and every time we find the number 1, we change that position to 0. So we say, okay, this is water now. I know that I was in an island, but now this is water. And the main function that is still exploring the map and not the island, the entire map, we'll find a water in that specific position because we have destroyed while we were exploring the island DFS right here. So that's why it works. If not, we should totally change some things here. Is it more clear? I don't know. It's sometimes maybe it's hard to see.
I think it's because we are recalling explore the island DFS row +1, row -1, and column +1 and column -1. That's why we are actually cleaning our grid. Is that right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
This make me think about then how we think about the problem. In the start, in the beginning, we think about to count ones, but not is about that. Is about count islands. And when you remove the ones and put zeros, we will spend less memory to find it.
Also,
this is the secret.
That's true.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's also another secret. Yeah. And so that's it. The both functions are sharing the same memory area. That is the map. That is the so-called grid, and that's it. We could find out number one, call the explore the island, and here inside we are changing this to 0. So both are sharing the same memory, and that's actually the thing. Yeah. No, the session is not finished, people. Do you need to go? No. There is something really special for today. It's a big class. It's a master class. Let's go to something really cool. Yeah. Don't worry. Keep with us. It's very worth. I can guarantee it to you. So yes.
One thing,
yeah, please.
I have second query. Actually, when suppose we have position row 0 and column 0, and when we reach that function like the explore the island of DFS, and then below that when we call row -1. Currently we have position on row 0 and we call row -1, the second function, line number 33. Yeah, this one. In that case, it will be less than 0 row position.
No, I think it won't, because you already have a validation on the if.
Yes.
So you won't reach that statement if the row or column is 0.
Yes, we would just go back return in that position. In that case, we didn't make this position 0. So this will help to traverse the whole island. Is that clear?
Yes, it's because we considering this condition here, we are guaranteeing that we are not traversing anything that is not acceptable or that is out of bounds, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, and also if it's a water we are not exploring anymore, we just go back.
Okay, and when we returning that position, then in that first time when we call this function, then if we don't have row -1, because so in that case we will just return from line number 28, and we will not do it make it 1 to 0, because we return back from that position. And above that, when we first time call this function then the increment above the variable number of islands, it should be it could be greater than it will be increment by 1 or not?
Should be incremented by 1. We don't need to increment by 1 because we are incrementing when we are calling the function. So when we call the function, the new row will be row +1. So we are incrementing this way, and we don't need to increment the number of items inside this function, because we have already incremented when we just find the first number 1, and we are guaranteeing this because we are destroying all the islands in this line. So all the islands that we have already visited, we are destroying them. They are now water, and that's why we only need to also increment it only here. But I'm not sure if I could.
So this is actually main confusion when we're reaching that node by node, one by one. Then every time we don't know that it is a correct position satisfy with the if condition in line number 23 or not, but we just incrementing that the variable by one number of islands. So I think it will be incrementing all these testing scenario later before it will create the incrementing that one. So it will be creating one by one number of islands. So how it returns only one out as a because we are turning that number of islands variables. Why it returns once?
Just because we are incrementing when it's just because it's a little bit magical because we are sharing this memory. So I know that it makes a little bit of confusion, but let's use a map here, for example. One of the examples here, this one. What is happening is this.
Sorry, Gustavo.
Please.
I would just add that every time you go looking for one, you're looking for one piece of land. Every time you find this piece of land, you increment and destroy the island that's formed by this piece of land. So every time you find a piece of land of an island, it's destroyed. That's why you just add when you just increment when you find the piece of land of an specific island. I think it can get more clearly. I don't know.
Yes, I like your explanation. I just see here that people are also anywhere. Yeah, Abid is also talking about a corner case. Yes, Abid, if we have only number one, we don't have the concept of
I have one doubt.
Land, just island. But yeah, please.
Hello,
please. You can talk.
I'm audible. Hello.
Yep. Yeah, so I think I don't know if it's more clear now, but yeah, what we are doing is when we find this, for example, this first number one, when we're starting. Yes, I can hear
I have
you.
one doubt.
Yeah,
could you please scroll down?
Have you written your doubt? What's your doubt? You can say, please. I think there is a delay, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. If you can write down your doubt, please. You can write down. I know that sometimes the internet connection can not be good sometimes.
Excuse me, Gustavo.
Yes, please.
Could I? Okay. You said that you are using the DFS. Could you show us what's the difference if we chose the BFS? Thank you.
Oh, yes. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Actually, we just need to create another function like this one. And will be the BFS. And instead of iterating this way, we should be creating here a queue, as I said. So we need to create this var. Will be places to visit or positions to visit. That we still need to visit. Will be a new queue of characters, and we need to use this. So, for example, we don't need to use it. It will not be here anymore. This condition because we are not taking advantage of this memory stack. So we need to actually do something like this. And let me put this here for a second. And we just need to put the current position to the queue. So we just do this. We do positions to visit dot enqueue. This current position that will be, okay, I need this to be a combination of row and column. Maybe I can use tuple. The tuple or, yeah, tuple is okay. Will be inch and inch. Yeah. Or I can use also a dictionary or an array or something. Let me use this. Inch 2 positions. That's fine. And I enqueue this new thing that will be 1 row and column. That's the
Gustav.
Yep.
So if we have to, for example, I mean, the queue data structure that you used, if I want to do the same thing in JavaScript, would it be the same way, the BFS?
Oh, good. Yeah, same thing. Good question. For all the languages, you have some basic data structures like queue. So in Java, we also have, I think it's also queue in Java. It's queue in Java. Yeah, same thing as C#. They're very similar. So you have this queue data structure, same thing.
Okay.
But you use is a little bit different. It's not in queue. It's push and pop, I think, or add, remove, special value. Let me see here. Not push. Yeah, push, I think is C++. Yep, but for all of them, you have something similar.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then you enqueue this position. Then you need to use a while, for example, can be. While you still have positions to visit. So the count is more than 0. You need to visit everything that is around. So you just take the current position. You need to know the current position will be current position. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult compared to the DFS using recursion. I think it's the most easy to understand. Positions to visit. Yeah, but it's very similar after this because you need to, that's the different thing. You take this position. Now you need to do the validation. I will take this validation because I'm now actually visiting something using the queue. Yeah, I think we need to stop with this problem soon, but I invite you to try to understand also this other solution that I'm solving right now. So instead of return, we need to continue. If we found that actually the current position is not valid, we continue and visit the next position. We not return because it's not recursion anymore. And if it's valid, we can use this. Yeah, please.
Don't we need to pop one element from positions to visit for capturing current position?
You're right. So let's do something here. Let's use something like, let's just change the row and the column here. It's not a problem to do. I can destroy these 2 variables here. So I can do row will be current position 0, because I created this array to store both. So position 0 is actually the row, and the column will be current position 1, that is the column. And that's okay. Now everything here is fine. If I'm not going to the next thing that I need to visit, next position that I need to visit, I consider the current position as visited. And finally, what I'm going to do is to add all these explore items to visit here. So we need to actually put all those positions to the queue. And that's it. So what we need to do is copy that thing here. Yes, something important. Dot the queue. Yeah, we are removing from the queue. So we enqueue here, the queue here. That's the push and the pop here, or the add and remove or something, depending on the language that you are using. So let's use the enqueue again. Now we are going to do all those options here. The +1, same column. The -1, same column.
Gustavo,
Yes,
I just
please.
had a question. Yeah.
Yes, please.
While using queue, are we going to pop the position that we have visited?
Yes. Maybe we will be also visiting a position that we have already visited, but consider that we are still destroying the original grid. That's fine, because we will be just ignoring the current position. You will be going to this continue. That is just like the return that we were using when we implemented the DFS.
Okay,
hope.
one more doubt in that.
Yes, please.
Whenever we are popping out from the queue, let's say we have found a 0 there. After once we have found a 0. Then
Yes.
if I am founding a 0, then this loop is continued, right?
Yes, and when you find it 0, it will still be in the loop of this while, because maybe we still have positions to visit. We are using the continue just like to keep in the loop. We don't want to break or to return. We just continue in the loop. Go to the next one.
Okay, and one more thing. If we are having, if we have visited a 0, then we are not going to dequeue it or pop it. Is it correct? Or I'm going somewhere wrong?
If it's a 0, consider that I'm still doing a lazy thing of just adding to the queue. I'm not verifying before in queuing if this position here is 0 or not. I'm being very lazy with this approach, but that's fine because we guarantee that we are not exploring that position with this condition here.
Okay, fine. If we are encountering a 0 in the matrix, then we are not, you can say, considering it, right? We are considered with only ones.
Yes, exactly.
And how it going to count the islands for that? I'm just a little bit confused in that.
Okay, it will be still the same thing. I mean, we are still considering the island is detected here in the main function, where we are the most important function actually. When we find the number 1, we just increment the number of islands. And we are only guaranteeing that we are not visiting a position that have never been visited before, because we can just, we are destroying this grid inside the DFS or the BFS. You can pick which you prefer, doing this. So this line is the one that is protecting us and guaranteeing that we are counting each island once. We are not able to count it more than once.
Okay.
See if it's more clear.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's test this, just to test, and let's, because I think we will be able to actually at least introduce the other things that I want to talk to you all. But let's see this. Let's run, see if it will work. Maybe I made some mistake. Yeah, the initializer of the array. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I know that it's, oh yes, sorry, I forgot about this. So yes, it's an array. So let me do the same here. Array. I think that's all. Let's see. If not, I make a syntax mistake. Try initialize with a new expression. The array size cannot be specified in a variable declaration. Let me do this. If I just do both. Oh yes, this is wrong. I don't need to specify the size. Yep, accepted. Let's see. Let's submit and see if the BFS is also working in all test cases. Let's see. Yeah, and that was nice. The number here can vary depending on if the software was busy, especially this one. But that's fine. We are using here. I think we are using more memory now, probably because we are using the queue.
Oh, it's using less.
Less memory? Okay.
In fact, this is better. It's faster and use less memory.
Oh yeah, let's compare here. This one, yes, less memory. You're right. You're right. Less memory. We could use even less memory. It was even faster than the DFS. We can do this even better. Use less memory if we verify before adding the position to the queue. Let me send you this one. Yeah. Let me send you this thing. And thank you all very much for this question. I hope you liked this one. I'm sorry. Yeah, someone is trying to say something. I don't know. If you are, please, you can write down also. Let me send you this, and let me also send you a homework, a challenge for you to do at home, because we don't have time to solve the next one that is very similar. It's just the maximum area of the island instead of the number of islands. So you can read it, this one at home calmly. Let me send you this link. and try to solve this one. I think you will be able to solve this one very easy. There is my solution here, but I think you should try to solve it by yourself. It's very similar, very, very similar. But you are incrementing the island area and you're returning the island area at the end. So yeah, if you want this solution, I can also give you, but please try it before seeing the solution. I think it will be better for you. And yes, Camila, are you there? I don't know.
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
Thank you. Well, I see that, I see that also have sent a message to a single student. Let me send everything again. Camila, would you like to talk about everything before, because I think I need a little bit more time with them, maybe more 15 minutes or 20 minutes. What do you think? How is your time there? Are you very busy? Do you prefer to talk before or?
Okay, yeah, perhaps we can just share quickly about the Premium Academy and have some announcements, and then you can keep discussing with them and coding together. Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, so just thank you, Gustavo. Let me share my screen again quickly. Guys, I hope you are enjoying this session. I mean, we are really preparing like this special class for you all. So thanks again for joining us. Gustavo will share other tips with you in some minutes. But before we move on, I just wanted to recap a little bit about the Premium Academy again, because I received some messages in the chat. So again, about our Learning Academy, we offer classes weekly, as I mentioned before. So we have 3 types of classes, 3 times a day, from Mondays to Thursdays. And I will show you the schedule that we have nowadays, okay? And this is our current schedule. So people are asking about it. So on Mondays, we offer the behavioral interview practice classes. Those sessions are held to help you get ready for the HR interviews and how you can behave in your interviews and so on. So you will be practicing the most common questions you might face in this type of interviews. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we offer the technical interview preparation. So on Tuesdays, Gustavo and Carlos Pivotto, they're helping with the code challenges, right, Gustavo? You want to add something here?
Yes, just to add something. I'm on Tuesdays at 4 a.m. PST usually. Chico is also helping us. He works for a big tech company. He's doing the 8 a.m. PST, and Pivotto is on Tuesday at 3 p.m. PST. But yeah, they are also fantastic, and we also always invite you all to go to all the sessions. If you can come to my session, it's 4 a.m. PST on Tuesdays. But if you can come to their sessions, that's fantastic, because repetition is important. Just to remember that. I think it's nice to be in contact with other instructors. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, perfect. And on Thursdays, we also have Anurag and Murilo. They are dealing with different aspects around technical interviews, so beyond the code itself, right? So they discuss other things like GitHub, or how you can present your project or take home assignment and so on. So they're discussing different topics, but all related to technical interviews. And on Wednesdays, we also have a class called English for Work and Interviews, in which our instructor will be focusing on the communication aspect around work environments and interviews to help you boost your communication skills in English, okay? So this is the schedule we offer nowadays. If you join us, you can, because we are in the middle of the current season, there is no worries about that. You can join us anytime, because all the sessions are available in the classes platform. You can review the previous classes and start attending the live ones from now on. So It's just like the way we have to organize the content in a fixed schedule. Okay, so just remembering the other features offered. We also have the profile review feature, in which we'll be helping you with your profile, reviewing that and highlighting how you can improve that to showcase your experiences, your background in a better way. Stand it out for recruiters and companies. And we have a lot of great content, exclusive content about immigration, technical perspectives that companies are looking for, and so on. And a special group where we get together on Slack to network and also discuss with our instructors if we have any questions later on, right? Any other tips, Gustavo? Anything else you'd like to add here about the Premium Academy? Because you were a former member, right? So
yes,
for those that don't know yet, Gustavo joined us at the Premium Academy, and he went really well, and then he got hired, and now he's one of our instructors. So we are super happy to have you here. So thank you again for taking that time as well to share with our community, because you are one of our success cases, and we are really glad to have you with us and sharing what you know and what you've learned with everyone. Anything else you'd like to add about the classes and stuff?
Yes, I can. And yes, I just want to say to you all that it's I think those classes, they are not only for interviews. I know that the VanHack Premium Academy is focused on interviews, but they help you being successful in your roles in any company, because we are actually reviewing some things that you probably saw when you were studying in the university, or any courses that you have done before. And as you know, probably it happened to you when you finish your school or your university, you don't remember some of the things, and they will help you be more successful than just using for create, read, update, delete, using just a database to store information, get information, or creating just some of the things we discuss. A lot of really nice technical stuff. We share knowledge a lot between each other, because I'm going to talk to you now after Camila about system design problems, and you will see that the idea of this is to keep us updated. So that's why I like to do this as something is more like a hobby, something that I really love to do, and a way for me to keep studying with you all. So I share knowledge with you, but I also learn a lot with you all. So that is something that I really appreciate. If you think that it's also something that you would like to do, just like it's also a study group and having everyone together working, that's how I see the VanHack Premium Academy. It's something very useful, very important for our life, for our profession. Wow. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's beyond the interview preparation, right? It's like preparation for a work environment and so on. And that's fantastic. So yeah, another news for you guys that are attending and joining us today, we will send you a special coupon. So if you want to join us and join this special group to keep practicing and getting ready for your technical interviews and all the interview process, you can join us and have this special coupon. So stay tuned. I'll send you later on today. And yeah, I hope you can join us and keep practicing with us. And before we move on, I just wanted to invite Deza, because she's with us today, and she wanted to invite you for a special event we'll have next month. So Deza, are you there?
Yes. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to be quick so we can get back to Gustavo. I want to invite you all to join VanHackCon. If you are here on this call and you haven't signed up yet, please save your seat. VanHackCon, if you were with us for a long time, you probably were part of VanHackCon last year. So if someone was part, please send a message on the chat. So we are going to have 2 days of amazing people talking about the marketing, about how you can prepare yourself for your job abroad, bringing success case companies that hired from VanHack before to see their perspective when they are looking for a candidate. So it's an amazing event. It's completely free. And you just need to go to vanhack.com/vanhackcon and sign up.
Fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't miss this event if I were you guys. So yeah, if you haven't registered yet, please do it. We can share the link in the chat as well. Gustavo will be with us as well, right, Gustavo, again. So he's one of our speakers, and he'll be sharing more tips to help you get ready. So yeah, I think that's all from my side. Yeah, I will get back to you, Gustavo, so that you can keep sharing this amazing content. I will be around, guys, but I have some things to do. So I will leave here in the chat my contact. So if you have any other questions, please drop me a message on Slack or email me, and stay tuned because I will send you another email with this special coupon and also the link so that you can join the VanHack Con and everything. So thanks again for joining this special masterclass. And Gustavo, please, the stage is yours. You can keep hacking with our community. Yeah. And thank you again for this amazing session. Thank you.
Thank you, Camila. Thank you both. Thank you, Deza. Let me just, it's just because I really wanted you all to understand that it's not all about the algorithms and data structures. It's also about system design, and there's a reason for that. Let me just show you this to help you all with something cool. That is this. Wait, not showing. Yeah, here it is. So we have also system design problems. I would like to at least introduce, maybe we can do another open class sooner or later. Yes, Camila, maybe we can schedule something else in the future, focus it on system design. But we are going, in this final season of this season, this year, we are going to have only system design problems. We have only one more of dynamic programming, as I said before here. So all the other ones on Tuesdays, yes, will be related to, yeah. So we are here, as I said, we have still one more related to algorithm data structures. Then we have many other system design classes here. So what are the system design classes? For example, here we are going to have an introduction where I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I'm going to talk now. But there's some famous problems like design a parking lot system. How would you design a parking lot system? Will be related to the object-oriented programming. What are the classes, interfaces that you are proposing to create, and how those different classes and models of your software will be iterating through with each other, functions that you need to implement. Another one, design a news feed used by platforms like Facebook. How would you design the news feed of Facebook? Create a Facebook is very complicated, just like the thing that I'm going to talk about today, the online store. But you need to know how to propose a solution for something like that. So that's why I say that these classes are not only for interviews, in my opinion, because that's something that we need to keep studying, to keep up to date, learning about new technologies, new databases, new things that we can use, new resources, how to properly design an API, how to properly design microservices and anything else. So we need to, that's a way for you to discuss and share knowledge. Remember that most of our candidates are senior software engineers. They work for many amazing companies, and they have a lot of knowledge that they are able to share. So you're not only working with me, that is also another thing important. There is not a single answer for one of those problems. We have different design solutions, and we discuss these design solutions. So that's what I really appreciate, I like with of the VanHack Premium Academy, because we will be learning something new every day. I learn with all the students something new every day. So for example, you need to, as I was talking before, you need to create your own web search engine. You are creating your web search application. What's the database that you are proposing to use? Are you going to use the Elasticsearch, or are you going to use something that allows you to do full text search? And that's okay. You can also do something like this. But yeah, that's the idea. Another one here, design a ticketing system like the Ticketmaster or Book My Show from India. You can be, how do you do something in real time to schedule and just reserve a specific seat for you to buy for a show? And that's something interesting to discuss about. Design a streaming platform like YouTube. Platforms like YouTube, you know that you need to be careful with streaming, the size of the videos, and so many things that we need to be careful. So we talk about CDN, the Content Delivery Network. We talk about cloud. So if you are a cloud engineer, if you have knowledge about it, you can share with us. We are also going to share and evaluate and help you make a even better solution for problems like this. So you show what you got, you show your solution, and we will be discussing with, sometimes I'm bringing special guests from fantastic companies to help us. And that's the idea, for we all to learn more. And that's for system design problems. I'm going to talk more about. I see that there are some people sharing. Yeah, books for system design. Yeah, I have one on my Kindle that is called System Design. I need to check. I need to access my account to give you. And there are some really good websites that usually I'm sharing with you all, like the Krug. And I need to find here. I can give you some things. Let me see more. And find the course plan list. Yeah, the course plan list is the one that I'm showing you right now for Tuesdays, because I'm only responsible for Tuesdays. But the entire course plan, I think it's only available. Yes, it's available on the Thinkific platform that we use. If you access, you will see everything that is there. Let me also. Yes, there's also a document that I have it right here. Let me think.
Yeah, perhaps we can share it.
Yep.
I mean,
thank you.
Course outline, I think there's no problem to share it with.
Can I?
Yeah, I mean,
I
can share in the email if you want to.
Oh, thank you.
Because I also have it with me. Yeah, I also have this outline. Yeah, I can share this link with you guys, and I mean the course outline, so that you can understand all the topics that we are covering in class. Okay, for this class only, but remember that we also have the other classes. But I can share about the classes that Gustavo is mentioning here.
Yeah, thank you, Camila. I see that some people need to leave. I'm just at least introducing to you this concept. So what is happening, just for you to understand, I'm going to talk more about this in the VanHackathon. This free event that VanHack will be on a Saturday next month, now in November. And what is happening is that companies just evaluating candidates through algorithm data structures is not exactly the best way to evaluate the candidate, as you probably know or have seen before. So it helps a lot. It's very important, but it's not the only way. System design problems, they allows you to show your previous experience. And as I'm saying, that we have so many senior developers, senior professionals in the VanHack, and they have a lot of experience with different things. For example, real-time solutions, or some engineers are focused on database, others are QA, others are DevOps engineers, as I am, and our software architects, and that's something interesting. So when you're solving a system design problem, you can propose using everything you know. Usually you will be in real time with an interviewer. We will be using a software like Miro or any whiteboard software, sharing with the interviewer, and you will be creating models, proposing things. So what I wanted to tell you is this. When you are solving system design problem, and what we are going to do in all the classes related to system design, we always need to extract information from your interviewer related to functional requirements and non-functional requirements, because some interviewers will stay quiet, and just like a client, it's just like a simulation, that they don't know exactly what they want, or they think that they know what they want, and you need to be sure of the information that you're extracting and take some notes. So you will verify the functional requirements. What you will be able to do with the system? What are the functionalities of the system? The non-functional requirements are those things that are not related to functionalities, but are characteristics of the system. So it should be fast, should be secure, should work 24/7, or any other characteristics that are not exactly functional characteristics. Out of scope, what is out of scope? For example, I was talking about one of the classes that will be related to the news feed of Facebook. It's out of scope for that specific problem to think about, for example, how to add a friend or how to recommend a friend. Those things are not things that we would be out of scope. So you need to check with your interviewer or with your client in real life if what is out of scope. The data module here, it can be related more to database. Yes, it can, but usually no. Usually the data module is related to the domain module. Domain module we usually represent using class diagram. I know that some of you never do class diagram because it's common that some companies don't do this, but it's important for you all to know that domain module, that is to understand the solution that you're creating. Domain is for everything. Domain is for if your company is focused on online store. So what is the domain? Products, clients, orders, all the names that I'm saying here are part of the domain, this area of knowledge. So you can represent usually using, as I said, a class diagram. So that's how we usually represent domain module. You can use something related to database, but that's not what I would recommend you in any way. Not use a relational diagram, because entity relation diagram, because that's not what they usually want to see, and that's not what we are doing. Today we are more working with the domain itself, and not creating so many things on the database, and some responsibility shouldn't be on the database. As you know, like stored procedures and things like that, we need to be very careful with which stored procedure we are creating, because we shouldn't be adding things related to the domain to the database in theory, because you can change the database that you're using. Maybe you're moving from SQL to non-SQL, or it will be very complicated for you to give maintenance to your code. But yes, so capacity planning is another thing that we talk about. Usually the companies want to scale. Everyone wants to scale because they can reach more people. So you need to think about capacity planning. How much space will be necessary. If you're a cloud engineer, if you know a lot about cloud, maybe you can even talk about money, how expensive it will be. So if you can, for example, imagine that you're going to have many more clients in the future, how much it will be. So there are some very important things that you need to think about. And API design, it's another thing important here. Are you going to create a RESTful API? So are you going to actually work without state, just sending messages and changing? Something will happen when you send a message with post, put, get, delete, or patch. If you're using the HTTP methods with REST, that's fine. But we need to be careful, because sometimes we are, for example, using actions. We are creating API and proposing creating APIs using actions, just like turn off, turn on something, or activate, deactivate something. That's not exactly how REST was supposed to be used. And I don't think the interviewer would be caring too much about this, but it's interesting for you to know how to design API. And that's something interesting. Not only API, if you know GraphQL, or if you're going to use RPC, remote procedure call, or any other technology, that's fine. You can talk about what you know. So that's why I'm saying that system design problems, it's just the moment that you should shine. You should show what you have, all the experience that you got during the years of work. So you can talk about anything, previous projects that you can talk about. Yes, it's another important thing. And another thing is high level and low level. High level architecture is when you draw some models and you're not going through many details. You're just drawing, oh, I'm going to create here for my online store, for example, a service that will be adding clients or managing specific things and everything else. Or when you go to low level architecture, you go to details and you can explain what's the database that you are selecting for a specific microservice? For example, are you using a cache solution like Redis, or are you going to, if you are a cloud engineer, if you know some services like the AWS S3 or the blobs from the storage from the Azure or whatever, you know that your previous experience you can talk about. If you're going to use queues for messaging, if you're going to use a service bus, for example, if you know RabbitMQ or Kafka, you can talk about all those things. So I know that we don't have time to properly go through the system design problem. It's really fantastic. We usually use Miro, for example, to each student candidate share his solution, and we evaluate all the solutions. Sometimes it's a very complicated topic. I try to bring special guests that will help us. And that's something really cool. You should be totally prepared for this, but you also don't need to worry too much. You just need some practice and keep studying, because what happens is that it's expected for you to have some previous experience. If you only have worked with SQL database, no problem. That's fine. You can propose a solution using SQL, but you need to know what are the difference between a SQL and a non-SQL, not only SQL database. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I really wanted to share with you all. Let me see what people are writing right now. Yeah, any questions, please, while I'm reading here. Yeah, domain. Oh, very interesting. Let me see this that Gerardo is sharing to train.
Hi, Gustavo.
Thank you. Hello.
My question is, you said at the beginning that usually we have 45 minutes to solve the problem that's proposed by the company. So sometimes I have some trouble typing everything. So I have to explain what I'm saying and type at the same moment. Do you have any tip so we can get it a little faster? So sometimes I explain and not type, so the interviewer, they say, oh, that's okay, you don't have to type, just say the solution. But if someone goes to review my code, it's not typed. So do you have any tips so I can go faster and solve everything in the limit of 45 minutes?
Yes, yes. Time management is really hard, and I see also in real life. I'm always trying to manage better my time. It's really hard to do so many things at the company that I also working for everyone. I see that it's always a problem. But during the interview, we have a very specific time. We cannot just like we are doing right now. We are expanding a little bit more than the scheduled time for we to talk a little bit more, and we have only this 45 minutes. So I think the most important thing is the out of scope that I was talking about. So this number 3, we need to be pretty fast with this 3 topics here. We should do this in something like 10 to 15 minutes to properly know what we are going to model. We need to spend this time for these 3 topics here because we need to be careful. So let me explain. So as I said, functional requirement, you need to keep typing with your interview. Now requirement, you need to explain, for example, well, what do you want to do? I want to be able, for example, to add products and to the cart, to buy them and to be able to buy those products. So he wants something like add product to cart is one of the functions. Then he wants to be able to check out, that is to buy this thing. And what is out of scope? For example, out of scope here would be something like considering remove a product from the cart or increasing the number of products that we are going to buy. So cart management could be something out of scope, for example, or product recommendation. Yes, when someone is accessing your online store and you want to recommend a product to someone, it could be considered out of scope, or even payment could be out of scope. So you need to be to try to extract this information from your interviewer or from your client in real life, very clear to understand what is out of scope. So I think that's the thing that will help you with your time management. Another thing is that for all the other steps here, you need to verify what he's really interested in. If you are a cloud engineer, or if you are backend engineer and you're going to use cloud, you're going to use any cloud infrastructure, you should be focusing more in the high level architecture and a little bit of the low level when needed. Because sometimes they can ask you, okay, you're proposing here to create a microservice that will manage the product. So, but what's the database that you are proposing to use here? Then you go and explain that thing. So what I'm saying that you don't need to talk about all those things that are here. This is just a tip for you all to study, but you need to skip many of those things. We don't have time to talk about all of them usually. And for coding challenges, you need to always look for the examples. Don't waste too much time with, you can also start with thinking about the brute force case, but you should think what you can do to improve your solution as soon as possible. It requires a lot of practice and knowledge about different data structures. You need to also pick a single language, a single computer language. That's my recommendation. Don't try to do things using C++ and Python at the same time. Be able to do with both. Pick one, like Python. Okay, I will solve all the problems using Python. So you will know how to use Python for everything. You will know how to use the queue with Python, how to traverse a graph using Python, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I could answer your question.
Okay, good answers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, and share books for system design. Yeah, I have sent you all a website that is really nice. Let me speak the book that I have bought on Amazon, because I have it on my Kindle. That is really nice. Also, we have some, yes, system design. Yeah, it's very expensive now. Okay, at least it's this one. Let me find the Amazon.com. Okay. Not that this much in the Amazon.com. Let me show you here. Yeah, this one. Let me send you this link. It's a really nice book to help you. There is another one that I use, not exactly focusing on interviews, just because I study system design. I used to work in the post-graduation of software architecture, and also Carlos Pivoto, that is one of the technical instructors on Tuesday. He used to be my manager at that university, so he knows, and he is the coordinator of the software architecture, so he knows a lot about this. So that's fantastic. You'll be exposed to really good in structures. He's teaching at 3 p.m. PST on Tuesdays. Let me show to you the other one that I bought. So yeah, this one I think I have sent you. Yeah, and now the other one that I really would like to recommend you is related to microservices, actually. History. Sorry, or just. No. Yes, the clean codes is very important for you also to have and to read. That is my. It's confusing because there is two, the Amazon.com and the other one that I use. So, just type down. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a microservices book. I cannot find it here. It's probably about in the other Amazon.com. It's maybe I should access my Kindle. But yeah, if you can keep in contact and it come to other classes, I can give you more information, prepare it more. Yep. No. So everyone, I think that's it for today. If you can join us in another classes, will be fantastic. Also open classes like this one. But thank you very much. If you have more doubts, you can reach me out. You have my contacts, also my LinkedIn. You can reach me out on Slack. But that's it. Usually I take sometimes to answer because I'm working a lot. But yeah, and that's it. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gustavo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed this session. As we mentioned before, the recording will be available. And yeah, this is one of the first master classes we are offering, but hopefully we can offer others soon, right, Gustavo? And Gustavo will also be with us on VanHack Con, so hope you guys can join us. And if you wanna have like weekly meetings with Gustavo, join our Premium Academy, and yeah, hope you guys can attend the sessions. Thank you again. Thank you, Gustavo, for this amazing session.
Thank you all.
Really
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
See you guys
nice
around.
weekend.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.